Well, I still have you here for a few more minutes. You brought up this idea of media, which a lot of people distrust, but not even as much as they distrust the government right now, which I just saw a Pew Research Center survey that said only 9% of Americans report confidence in Congress, and 2 out of 10 say they trust the government right now. How do we change that? How do you rebuild trust and start to heal the toxic divide? Because the media is not helping at all.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you restore America's trust in the government is by making the government trustworthy. And it's not right now. The government is lying to us. And that's, there's always been lying by government officials, but now it's almost endless lying. And it was very rare. When I was a kid, Americans were shocked in 1960, in May of 1960, when the CIA's U-2 got shut down over Russia. And Allen Dulles persuaded Eisenhower to lie about it and say it wasn't our U-2, that the Russians were lying. And they believed, Eisenhower and Dulles believed at that time that plane crashing at that speed, that there'd be nothing left of it that would identify it. What they didn't know is that the pilot, Gary Francis Powers, who had been ordered to commit suicide and was given an injection that he was supposed to give himself, and he had not done it, and that the Russians had captured him, and they were keeping that secret until we went public line. And it was a milestone event for our country because it was the first time that Americans realized, the government lies. Before that, 90% of Americans trusted the government, and nobody believed that. Americans just did not believe the government would lie to them. They thought, communist governments did that, fascist governments, but not the American government. We had an honest government. It's like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington never told a lie. That was what our government was supposed to be. Well, by 1971, when the Pentagon Papers came out, Americans again were shocked and dumbfounded because that was this scathing chronicle of lie after lie after lie by not just one, but by hundreds of government officials who were all involved in a conspiracy to deceive the public about the Vietnam War. And then, after that, when my uncle left office, the trust in government was 70%, 70 to 80%. Depending on the poll today, it's, as you just said, 20%. It's the lowest it's ever been in history. It's not the fault of Americans. If somebody says to me, should I trust our government? I would say, no, you should not. The government is not trustworthy, and the mainstream press is not trustworthy. The press is lying too. The press is supposed to speak truth to power. They're supposed to be the guardian. I grew up in a household that was filled with these extraordinary reporters like Mary McGorry, Ben Bradley, Anthony Lewis, Jack Newfield, Jimmy Breslin, Pete Hamill, John Siegenthaler, Ed Guthman, all of these deities of journalism who all saw themselves the guardians of the First Amendment and would not dream of lying to the public. And today, there's a few of those guys left. You have Matt Taibbi, you have Jeremy Hammond, you have maybe Glenn Greenwald. You can count them literally, and most of them are, Cy Hirsch. Most of them are now confined to the netherworld of Substack because they can't write for the mainstream media because the media requires people to lie, and it's sad for our country. It's very disheartening, but the media has now become, instead of speaking truth to power, they have become the guardians of official orthodoxies, and they punish people for telling the truth, whether they were talking. We know this, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is the truth. We see it in the Twitter files. We have their emails saying, we need you to tell people that this is misinformation, even when we know it to be true. So, the term misinformation became a euphemism for anything that departed from government orthodoxies. And it's very sad. There was a great conversation that Noam Chomsky had with a BBC reporter, because I think most reporters don't even know that they're lying. They just think that they're, I've met all these reporters recently who then just go and lie about me, and they're very sweet people face to face. And I'm thinking, are these the most treacherous human beings in the world? But when I'm thinking about it on reflection, I don't even think that they know they're lying. And, Noam Chomsky had this incredible conversation with a BBC reporter, where the BBC reporter was saying, Chomsky was saying the reporters self-censor. They see themselves as people who are standing up to power and are independent, but actually, their whole zeitgeist is defending these official orthodoxies. And the BBC reporter was insulted by that. And he said, you believe I'm self-censoring to hide the truth? And he says, no, I think you believe the truth. You were selected. The selection process starts at kindergarten, and it works up that, he said, if you weren't hiding the truth, if you weren't willing to do that, if you weren't programmed and inclined to do that, you wouldn't be sitting where you are today. You are selected because you're good at doing that, at defending official orthodoxies and convincing yourself that you're actually defending the truth.
Yeah, that's the day and age we live in, and you're shining a light and bringing the truth. So thank you so much for that. I know you have to run, so I won't keep you any longer. But for everyone listening, go to Kennedy24.com to donate. I know so many have donated here, and you have so many more questions, but I feel you'll be answering them along the way. There'll be many more of these events ahead. So thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy, for your time. Good luck at the town hall event tonight.
Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody.